You're fired. The words cut through the lobby, loud enough to stop footsteps, loud enough that the man walking toward me with his hand already out couldn't miss them. That hand stayed in the air. The smile stayed too, ready to make history. The timing was almost impressive. I could smell the sharp citrus cleaner they drown these buildings in, the kind that makes your eyes sting if you breathe too deep. My brain stalled, my body didn't. I looked at the kid who'd just said it. Then I looked back at the investor. "I've been fired," came out of my mouth. Just now. A blink. One. The tablet in his other hand closed with a soft click. Then his attention shifted past me, past the glass, past the people who suddenly looked very busy. Then the deal's off. That was it. Phones froze halfway to ears. Someone laughed, quick and wrong, like they thought this was some kind of power move they didn't understand yet. Security adjusted their stance, not forward, not back. Waiting, I caught the CEO's eyes across the room. She saw me. She definitely saw me. Then she looked at the floor. That part stayed with me longer than the words. "My name is Nava Klein, 48 years old." I didn't raise my voice. I didn't argue. I didn't ask for a reason. I stood there holding everything I'd built for 3 years, while a $2.5 billion deal collapsed in under 10 seconds. I wish I could tell you I felt strong right then. Honestly, I felt stupid. Like I'd missed something obvious everyone else had already decided not to say out loud. I walked out because there wasn't a choice. Because when someone fires you in public, they've already told the room who they think matters. I didn't know yet what they'd just set in motion. I only knew this wasn't over, even if it looked like it was. The story you are about to hear is a fictional work created by the writing team at Her Fear. While inspired by real dynamics, companies, and power structures, all characters and events are imagined for storytelling purposes. As the doors closed behind me and the noise came rushing back, my phone started vibrating in my hand. I didn't answer it. Not yet. Chapter 2 started before I even reached the sidewalk. HR stayed half a step behind me, close enough to look involved, far enough to avoid eye contact. Her mouth opened, closed, then settled on something rehearsed. "We'll email the details. Not now. Not here. Sometime later, somewhere else." The kid didn't bother lowering his voice this time either, just leaned back, arms crossed, like this part bored him. Culture. That was it. No follow-up. No example. No explanation. Just a word people use when they don't want to admit it's personal. I looked past him, toward the CEO, kept my voice low, almost careful. "Is this real?" She didn't answer right away. Adjusted her jacket. Glanced at the investor team that was already packing up. "Let's not do this here." That was the answer. Not no. Not yes. Just not now. Which meant never. Security didn't touch me. That almost made it worse. They didn't have to. Everyone already knew which direction I was going. The elevator doors slid shut. Too fast. Too final. The ding hit every floor on the way down, loud and cheerful, like it was proud of itself. My badge was still in my hand, warm from my palm. I turned it over, thumb brushing the chip, half expecting it to buzz or flash or do something dramatic. Nothing. My head started looping the last 30 seconds like a bad recording. The pause. The word culture. Her eyes dropping. All the lines I'd practiced over a career, gone. I could see myself just standing there, nodding like I understood. That part stung. I didn't fight it. I didn't demand anything. I didn't even ask for paperwork. I just accepted it, like it made sense. By the time the doors opened, my phone was already vibrating. Messages stacking up. Names I recognized. A few I didn't. I didn't check any of them. Not because I was strong, because I didn't trust what I'd say back. I stepped out into the lobby with nothing resolved, no reason given, and a sinking feeling that whatever they weren't saying mattered more than anything they had. I couldn't stop thinking about the contract. Not the headline numbers. Not the valuation everyone liked to brag about. Page 17. The part everyone skimmed. The clause I wouldn't drop. Legal had pushed back hard on it. A late night, conference room lights buzzing. Fries gone cold in the box between us. This is overkill. I slid the page back across the table, finger tapping my own name where it belonged. Put my name in anyway. A pause. Someone sighed. Someone else joked about me being dramatic. The fries tasted like cardboard by then, and the office smelled like burnt coffee that had been sitting too long. I remember thinking I should just let it go, keep things smooth, be easy to work with. I didn't. The investor never cared about our logo, never once asked about the brand refresh or the mission statement framed in the hallway. Every call came back to the same thing, me. How I handled pressure, how I answered without dodging, how I didn't pretend problems would solve themselves. That part made people uncomfortable. They liked systems, processes, titles, things that stayed put when people left. They didn't forget what I did. That was the ugly realization settling in. They remembered every bit of it. They just assumed it wouldn't matter once I was gone, that the relationship would transfer, that trust was portable. I replayed one meeting in my head, the investor leaning back, arms crossed, looking straight at me. If you walk, we walk. I'd laughed it off at the time. Told him he was being dramatic. Told him I wasn't going anywhere. Turns out, he meant it. And they never believed him. My phone buzzed again. This time, it was legal. A short message. Too careful. Call me when you can. Not are you okay? Not what happened. Just business, like always. I set the phone face down. Let it vibrate itself quiet. They thought they'd removed a piece. Clean, simple, replaceable. What they didn't understand was that they hadn't fired the role. They'd fired the part of the deal that actually worked. My phone rang before I even made it home. Not a missed call. Not a text. Straight through, the screen showed his name. And my stomach dropped like it already knew. No greeting, no small talk. Did you quit? The question landed clean, not angry, not confused, just precise. No. That was all I gave him. One word, nothing to soften it, nothing to explain. The line stayed open. I could hear him breathing, slow and steady. Then a chair scraped, fingers hit keys, sharp and fast, like he was already 10 steps ahead of where I was standing. Okay, another pause. Longer this time. Then we're legally out. The words didn't come with drama, no raised voice, no lecture, just a statement, like gravity. I slid down against the kitchen cabinet and sat on the floor, my back cold against the wood. The room smelled like takeout I hadn't thrown away yet. I didn't move to fix it. I didn't feel like cheering, didn't feel like crying either, mostly. I felt exposed, like something private had just gone public without my permission. I'm sorry. I started, then stopped. The word felt wrong in my mouth. Don't be. Came back immediately. This isn't on you. More typing. Faster now. You should know, he added. Quieter. We flagged this scenario months ago. Your clause. Page 17. I closed my eyes. That late night. The fries. Legal rolling their eyes. They told me it wouldn't matter, I said. And hated how small it sounded. They were wrong, he said. No hesitation, and they just proved it. The call ended not long after. No next steps, no promises, just the sound of the line going dead. I stayed on the floor longer than I needed to. Let the phone rest in my hand until the screen went dark. I felt stupid for how much it meant that he believed me. Relieved that I hadn't had to convince anyone. Both feelings sat there together. Uncomfortable, but real. By the time I stood up, my phone was already lighting up again. Different names this time. Same urgency. Whatever was happening back at the office had started moving without me. The stock dropped before lunch. I didn't need a chart to know it. My phone told me. It lit up once. Then again. Then it wouldn't stop. Are you okay? A few minutes later, we didn't know this would happen. Then another. Can you help? Different names. Same tone, urgent, careful. Nobody typed the one sentence that would have mattered. Nobody wrote, I'm sorry. I put the phone face down and tried to eat. Soup from a carton, straight into the microwave. I forgot about it until the smell changed. Not burnt, just wrong. Sour, like it had been sitting there too long. Even though it hadn't, I threw it out without tasting it. The messages kept coming. One from a director I'd trained myself. Short, professional. Too professional. One from someone in legal who hadn't pushed back on the clause when it counted. That one just said, call me. I thought about the junior analyst who cried in the bathroom last month. I'd found her there by accident, mascara on her sleeve, apologizing for taking up space. I remembered telling her to breathe, to go home early, to stop thinking one mistake would end everything. This wasn't her fault. She didn't hire him. She didn't stay silent in that lobby. And this wasn't mine either. That part took longer to sit with. I kept circling back to it. Like if I stared hard enough, I'd find something I should have done differently. Something that would make this cleaner, easier to explain. Both things lived in my chest at the same time. Concern for the people who'd get hurt, anger at the ones who let it happen. That overlap messed with my head more than the firing itself. The phone buzzed again, this time from a number I didn't have saved. "We need to talk." The message read, no name, no greeting. I didn't answer, not because I was being strategic, because I didn't trust myself not to step back into a mess that wasn't mine anymore. By the end of the afternoon, the tone shifted. Fewer questions, more urgency, less pretending this was a misunderstanding. Whatever was happening inside that building had started to collapse in on itself. And for the first time all day, I felt the distance. Not relief, distance. Like I'd stepped outside just as the doors slammed shut behind me. The call came from a private number. That alone told me it mattered. Her voice sounded smaller than I remembered, not weaker, just careful, like she was choosing each word with both hands. She said my name, then said it again, slower the second time, as if repetition might soften what came next. "We need you." Not "I'm sorry." Not "we were wrong." Just "need." I let the silence stretch, long enough that she filled it. "Things are unstable," she added. Papers shuffled on her end. Someone murmured in the background and got cut off fast. "This is bigger than what happened between us." Between us? Like it was a misunderstanding. Like it was personal. I leaned against the counter and asked the only thing that mattered. "Is he still in charge?" The pause came back heavier this time. I could hear her breathing change. That tiny catch when someone realizes they're cornered by a simple question. "He's still with the company," she said finally. But that was enough. "I'll meet with the board," I said. Not rushing it, not offering anything extra, not to fix anything. To talk. Another pause. Shorter now, sharper. "Today," she asked. "Tomorrow morning." I hung up before she could negotiate the time. My hands were shaking, not visibly. Just enough that I noticed. I pressed my palms flat against the counter until it passed. I hated that part. The physical reminder that no matter how calm my voice was, my body remembered what it felt like to be erased. My phone buzzed again almost immediately. This time from legal. Then another number. Then another. Different people. Same urgency. The tone had changed. Less assumption. More caution. They were saying my name now. Correctly. Carefully. Like it carried weight again. I didn't answer any of them. Not yet. I sat there for a minute, replaying the call. Not the words. The hesitation. The way the power had shifted without anyone acknowledging it out loud. By the time I picked up my bag, I knew one thing for sure. I wasn't walking back into that room to save them. I was walking in to see how badly they needed me, and what they were finally willing to give up to keep everything from falling apart. The boardroom looked the same. Same chairs, same long table. What changed was the air, quieter, tighter. Like everyone had decided not to blink at the same time. I didn't sit right away. Let the chair stay empty. Let them feel it. Folders slid across the table toward me, neat, color-coded. Someone cleared their throat, then stopped when I didn't move. I laid it out slowly, not dramatic. Just clear, authority to make decisions without back-channeling. Safeguards that couldn't be walked back in a hallway. A public correction, in plain language, with my name attached. No spin, no miscommunication. A nervous laugh broke loose from the far end. It died quickly. "Isn't this a bit much?" The words hung there, waiting for support. None came, so was firing me in front of witnesses. Chairs shifted, pens stopped tapping. Someone stared at the table like it might answer for them. He was there. Back wall. No title on the nameplate. No one introduced him. He didn't look up. He didn't look at me at all. Good. I kept going. Not louder, not faster. Each condition landed where it needed to. I could feel the power moving, inch by inch, away from the habits they'd relied on for years. One director tried to soften it, talked about optics, about timing, about how this might feel to the market. I didn't interrupt. I waited until he ran out of words. "This isn't about comfort," I said. "It's about making sure this never happens again, to anyone." Silence again, different this time, heavier, like they were finally weighing something real. I almost felt bad then, watching it sink in. The cost, the pride, the quiet math happening behind their eyes, almost. The chair at the end creaked as someone leaned back. A pen clicked. Once, then stopped. No one argued after that, not out loud. When I finally sat down, it wasn't because they invited me to, it was because I'd said what I came to say. And they knew I wasn't negotiating for a seat. I was setting terms for whether I stayed in the room at all. They made me wait outside, no explanation. Just a nod toward the door and a quiet, "We'll call you in." The carpet smelled like dust and lemon polish, the kind they use when they want a room to look neutral, clean, uninvolved. I stood there longer than I expected to, long enough to stop checking my phone, long enough to stop rehearsing anything. When the door finally opened, no one smiled. "Come in." Same seats, same faces. No small talk this time, no easing into it. The chairman didn't waste words. A single sheet of paper slid across the table toward me. Signatures already lined the bottom, heavy and uneven, like some of them had pressed harder than they meant to. "We agree," he said. Not proud, not relieved, just finished. All of it. Authority, safeguards, the public correction. Every line I'd laid out the day before was there, untouched. No red ink, no clever edits. Someone else spoke up, quieter. "There will be changes." I didn't respond. I watched the far end of the table instead. The chair where he'd sat the day before was empty. Not dramatically so, just unused, no nameplate, no folder, like it had always been that way. "Signing authority has been reassigned," the chairman continued. "Effective immediately, permanently, no announcement planned, no internal memo yet. Just a decision that would ripple out once people noticed whose name stopped appearing at the bottom of documents." I nodded once. That was enough. For a moment, I felt nothing. Not satisfaction, not relief, just a hollow pause, like my body was waiting to be told how to react. Then it settled into something steadier, not joy, stability. They were already talking about next steps when I stood up. Timelines, calls, damage control. I didn't interrupt. I didn't contribute. This part wasn't mine anymore. As I reached the door, the chairman added, almost as an afterthought, "We appreciate you coming back to the table." I turned just enough to make eye contact. "I didn't come back," I said. "I came to be clear." No one argued with that. The door closed behind me without ceremony. And for the first time since the lobby, I felt the weight shift completely off my shoulders. Not because I'd won, because they'd finally chosen numbers over blood, and I knew exactly where that left me. I went back to work the next morning and did exactly what I said I would. Nothing more, nothing extra. I fixed the pieces that were broken, made the calls that only worked if they came from me, reopened doors that hadn't slammed shut yet. When meetings ended, people waited to see if I was done speaking before they stood up. That part was new. No one interrupted anymore, no one joked over me, no one used my name like it was optional. I noticed how careful everyone was. Words chosen slowly, emails reread twice before hitting send. Decisions walked down the hall instead of dropped in my lap. They'd learned the lesson they were forced to learn. What they didn't learn was how easily it had all happened. The system stayed the same shortcuts, same quiet approvals, same belief that the right silence could smooth anything over. That realization settled in heavier than the work ever had. I gave notice on a Tuesday, not the dramatic kind. Just a meeting on the calendar and a short sentence delivered without decoration. "I'm leaving." No bargaining, no counteroffers. Someone asked if this was about compensation. Someone else asked for a few more months. I shook my head before they finished. I've done what I came back to do. The paperwork moved fast, too fast, honestly, like they'd been expecting it. By the end of the week, my office smelled like cardboard again. The same smell from the box I'd carried out weeks earlier. Tape, paper, that dull dust scent that means something's being cleared instead of claimed. A few people stopped by. Awkward pauses, half-finished thoughts. One quiet thank you that almost landed. I didn't make speeches. I didn't explain myself. There wasn't a version of this where explanations helped. On my last day, I turned in my badge without ceremony. No escort this time. No watching eyes. Just a hand reaching out, then pulling back. I walked out the same doors as before, lighter only because I wasn't pretending anymore. I'd stayed long enough to prove a point. Not to them, to myself. I passed the building a week later. Same glass, same doors, same security desk pretending not to recognize people. I didn't go in. I slowed down just enough to see the reflection of myself in the glass and kept walking. That felt important, not dramatic, just honest. He was still there, technically. I heard it through the same quiet channels that used to leak everything to me. No team, no signing authority, no projects with his name on them. They'd moved him into a role where decisions never left his desk, where nothing could be broken because nothing important ever touched his hands. No announcement, no humiliation, just a slow professional disappearance. The company survived, barely, smaller, more careful. Meetings that used to end with confidence now ended with disclaimers. No one rushed decisions anymore. No one joked about figuring it out later. They learned to count the cost first. I started something else. Not a rescue mission, not a comeback tour. Just work that belonged to me. Fewer people, clear rules. No politics disguised as culture. The first contract I signed felt quiet in my hands. That was how I knew it was right. Some days I thought about staying, about how much power I had in those final weeks, about how different things might have looked if I'd leaned into it. Other days, I remembered the lobby, the pause, the way silence had done more damage than shouting ever could. No one called to ask why I left. They already knew, and that was fine. Here's the lesson I took with me, and I didn't learn it gently. Power doesn't come from how much you can fix after things break. It comes from knowing when to stop offering yourself to systems that only value you once they're afraid to lose you. I didn't win by staying. I won by leaving with my name intact. My choice is my own, and no need to walk back into a room that proved exactly who it would protect when it mattered.